both mid laners very prominent on this champion. And now again, I just want to see the Rell takeaway coming out from Meiko. Maybe not wanting to index into support because RNG have drafted the flex pick in the Gragas. They could go to jungle, but again, not really any high priority jungles left open. So Jiejie is just going to default to the Olaf, which we have seen get knocked down quite a bit in terms of presence in LPL.
Yep. But Lilia Udi are taken away and we start going down. It's not going to be a Karthus day, at least for now. Or rather Karthus game, as we saw in the previous series. Jiejie might be seeing the stride breaker as well. We'll talk about that as we get into game. But Lyric, a response in the Graves. This pick has been atrocious in the LPL and we'll pause to hold on the criticism because it looks like RNG are going to be looking towards that bottom lane. Set Gala up for the Xayah. Late game AD carry already with the late game mid over to Cryin.
Now I want to see where EDG go with their AD carry pick. You can go for the Tristana yourself that we've been seeing all day long and just have this farming bot lane, still scout to the late game. Indexes into where Azir is strong in terms of like the range and the team fighting, but instead going to go with the Gnar. I like this pick quite a bit. I think it's the safest blind pick that we have here in the LPL on patch 11.3. Does good into the Gragas if Xiaohu does elect to pick that one up himself.
Also pairs nicely with the Azir, right? Emperor's Divide into the Gnar gives you everything you need here to set for team fights for EDG. Also, the early game brawls that we set up in our opening segment too. So let's see what we get on the other side. Still no AD carry here for Viper. RNG, no support, no solo laner is a potential. Of course, we also remember the Gragas is a flex.
And I definitely expect EDG to go AD carry on 4. RNG have already shown their AD carry. Gragas still flex. Save, counter pick 5 for the support role. The first one that still jumps to mind is the Samira, but Samira is kind of awkward into 3 champions who would love to be jumped into, right? You jump into the Victor, puts down his W. Xayah able to get away with her ultimate. Gragas can throw down a body slam and an ultimate. You could also go the lines of the Aphelios, try to outrange them, play more of this front to back style. You do already have the range as we talked about with the Azir and the Gnar.
Will it get picked up? Samira's the first ban from RNG, rather the last one alongside the Thresh, considering there is no bot lane duo here for EDG and they have to show one. Usually support counter pick in a situation like this, right?
Yep, I think support, right, I already highlighted, they have the flex pick Gragas, save support for last,
Yep.
They've already shown AD carry, and they're going to go for a really aggressive option in the Kalista. And Viper and Meiko have been one of the most aggressive bot lane duos we've had, consistently looking for those 2v2 lane kills.
And now we wait for the support while RNG put all cards on the table. One more solo laner, remember, we find out where the Gragas is going to go. That Rell completely hovered over for the time being. This would mean we get a solo lane Tristana if it's locked in. Seen a couple of times here. Really trying to bully out the lane, and there we go. That'll be going towards which lane, Lyric?
Honestly, we don't know yet. I don't know what RNG... I mean, we have Cryin and Xiaohu, right? Both of them play both of these champions. I think both of them would do quite well up against Gnar, and actually both lanes should just be farm fest. Obviously, we've had top lane Victor in the past. It has been a thing, but I think Tristana is a bit safer in a long lane, considering you do have that rocket jump. And then Wei finishing out with the Hecarim pick, and somehow Rell made it all the way to last pick in this draft.
Yeah, where other games have just been the first pick straight away or banned away, paid respect. Pairs so nicely here with Kalista as well. A lot of CC coming out of EDG, and that brawl comp is already set up for success.
And it's so surprising. Rell has the 3rd highest presence in LPL on this patch. Not quite sure about letting that one through. We do see that EDG have a very clear draft. Very aggressive bot lane. They're fine leaving their top side on an island. It's still the front-to-back team fight. It's still the double front line. It's still a control mage in the mid. We know what to expect. And then RNG also bringing the flavor. They're all about these flex picks. As of now, it does look like we're going to get Tristana in the top lane. So it's going to be about matching wave clear in mid. I feel like giving Xiaohu the vision and, once again, giving him these pressure games, dropping the Rift Herald, and then starting to snowball him and enable him through the top side. So I love that both teams are sticking with their tried and true game plans.
It's something you and I have talked about. Me and Clement have also mentioned, you know, playing through Xiaohu's ability to access a different kind of champion pool. We've seen a lot of the top lane mages out of him. The flex picks as well for RNG has been a strength. And yet again, pulling out the Tristana in the top lane. Something to really shape things up. And I'm excited for how this is going to go, if it is going to be a farm fest or if RNG can kind of push that tempo. Let's see, Lyric, because going into game number 1, we remember that RNG versus EDG is set up to be a certified banger. It has the check mark long before Ender did. I'm sorry, Ender, you know, we love you, but this one has been in the history books of the LPL. As we run on in, remember that EDG and RNG sitting neck and neck at 9-1. The victor of this series comes out ahead, sits on top as the best LPL team in 2021 spring. Nice to get the Jayos out again, Lyric. Have a crowd back in the arena in Hongqiao, Shanghai. And it's filled to the brim here. RNG EDG, one that would have been tough to book even in advance. Just for context, recently RNG beating FPX, LNG. For EDG, Rogue Warriors, IG were the only team to take a win off of them, but EDG have been coming through with a lot of 2-0s as well. And both these teams have high expectations as we enter Summoner's Rift. If anyone else is watching another region, man, you are missing out again on a certifiable banger as we run into this one. And we start lanes off with junglers actually getting a leash down the bottom side, bar Jiejie, who's solo starting on the blue buff.
Yeah, Hysterics, but I really want to take time to think about this top lane matchup, right? Because Tristana versus Gnar, this isn't something we get every day. I think the theory behind it is, you know, both of these champions have scaling range as the game goes on. But level 1, Tristana outranges the Gnar 525 to Gnar's 400. Your level 2 is extremely potent, and level 2 is where Gnar is very weak. He's probably not going to be Mega Gnar because he's going to be zoned off the wave. You have the Halo Blades, and you look to pressure with this all in. So Xiaohu definitely having a favorable lane matchup, and I want to see how Wave props it up. And we can already see he's pathing towards the top side. So both teams know what the plan is for RNG early on.
Well, Lane's just farming down the bottom side of the meanwhile as well. There's another engage there, set up here from Meiko, both level 1, but it looks like Viper and Meiko will get 2 first, so Gala and Ming back away for now.
And right now, it is exactly what we expected, right? EDG winning through bot lane, playing aggressively, RNG controlling this topside matchup. Mid lane's going to be a farm fest. Scout will be able to get pressure early on. We're going to wait for Cryin to get some of those upgrades later on and, you know, start being able to spam the E on the wave. When we think in terms of scaling and who needs to be the proactive team, I think both teams have extremely potent late games, but RNG are definitely the team that wins out. You have 2 hyper carries as AD carries, and then you also have a Victor in the mid lane, you have a Hecarim in the jungle, you have a frontline Gragas, so EDG definitely need to be the teams to start creating advantages through this bottom lane matchup.
And I guess as well, you know, you talk about Tristana poke coming through in the late game as well, how annoying it's going to be for EDG to just move into range of RNG. Feels like an important factor as well. So I like that you mentioned that.
Yeah. Tristana range, Victor range and zoning, the Gragas disengage, Xayah, who is happy for you to run into her, get that nice blade caller, throw out the ultimate E. Like, you just have so many ways of playing these team fights when EDG are coming into you, and it's like, sure, you have the Azir, he has range, but every other member of your team composition, very low range and wants to go in. So I think this game, from draft to me, looks very creative from RNG, and I definitely favor what I'm seeing from their side.
And you also talked about the influence of the Tristana in the early game that we're at right now, right? With Xiaohu taking teleport plus the Halo Blades, we already see him pushing in. He abused that level 2, which you said the Gnar, you know, definitely the weak point. The wave built up, and already there's a 15 CS discrepancy. Xiaohu playing incredibly aggressive with vision already set up in RNG's top side, and knowing that the bottom side for Gala and Ming is getting pushed in response as well. So looks like we've traded parts of the map just through the laning phase alone.
I'm really interested to see what happens when we hit the level 6 mark, because that's when you think that EDG really want to start getting aggressive. They have really good dive dive potential coming out from the fact that Meiko can look for the engage, Viper can pull him out, throw him back in, Jiejie is there. But Xayah is a pretty decent AD carry at being able to dodge dives with her ultimate, and then Gragas is also so annoying to dive, body slams you, ult you all in different directions, but Scout's in trouble.
Is he going to be able to flash Shifting Sands over the wall to Jiejie? But Wei's popped the ghost, wants to spin, the flash burnt immediately, and he has no follow-up as TP burned by EDG. It's Flandre coming in to save the day, but now he's just sacrificed the top lane wave. Xiaohu in a great position after all said and done.
And the thing is, right, Flandre is still getting golden XP, but EDG are still losing out somewhere. Scout did end up missing some minions, some gold. Now, that's 2 teleports in 1 flash for what was only a ghost used by RNG.
Really good aggressive play, and it's punished hard. Flandre here going to lose the wave as well. Gets demolished, but no turret plating. He's sticking mid, and you're oohing the fact that Scout actually teleported to the top lane.
Well, I'm actually not oohing the teleport itself, right? That's kind of expected for the fact that he needs to catch the wave. But I'm wondering if they're going to commit to these lanes, right? If they're going to commit to trying to have favorable matchups.
Leaves the teleport coming through. Well, meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Meiko set up to engage onto Gala. No 6 here, Lyric, so Gala's in a lot of trouble. Knows that he's going to die here. First blood going to get given over to Jiejie, while Viper moves down to half health.
Really nice gank coming out. Ooh, so it turns out that Scout looked for a big play himself throughout the Emperor's Divide. Xiaohu looks like he's going down.
He flashes away, goes into Fog of War. Is he saved? Gets the auto as he goes down too. A 1-for-1 trade in the top lane, and Wei wants to kill Flandre. No Mega Gnar trying to build up the bar, but Wei literally spins the horse wheel and picks up a better trade.
And that hop is on an extremely long cooldown, so no way of Flandre to drag that out and be able to get out of there. It is going to end up being 2 kills for the side of RNG in that exchange, going over for 1. But still, EDG got a kill down in the bot lane. They're picking up the dragon. So it's equal overall, but when we've set up, hey, RNG have the better scaling. Cryin was just hanging out doing all that farming up. RNG definitely getting the better of the trade. And as we're seeing here, it was actually Xiaohu who was being the aggressor, looks for the all-in, has the ultimate, blows that. We do see Emperor's Divide used immediately by Scout. Starts to run away, but Flandre's pushing in the mid lane, so he's able to come, throws the boomerang, misses, but doesn't matter, still flashes in with the auto, and then it's the 1v1. We mentioned hops on, I think, like a 22-second cooldown or something at this point in the game, and instantly gets brought down.
I love the aggression in this early game, though, Lyric, and what we saw was Xiaohu hitting 6 first, and Scout was 1 minion away, but ended up getting 6 after it went down as well for the response Emperor's Divide. We are back to standard lanes as we come back, though, Lyric, so it looks like EDG didn't want to keep the lane state as is. That means Xiaohu going to continue bullying out and pushing Flandre against his turret. Already note the CS discrepancy is at 30 CS at 7 minutes in the game, and Xiaohu now has a lot of damage with the pickaxe.
I guess it makes sense, right? Because Tristana has pressure against both matchups, and Victor is neutral / getting pushed in against both champions. So it actually doesn't change too much as
Wait, on Sword of Shadows, onto Viper, not 6 yet, body slam at max range, Viper 1 tick away, he burns to the red buff of Wei. Meiko squishy enough at this point in the game as well, as Ming's tanking up for the boys, the W wasn't enough, but at the end of the day you get 2 for the price of 1.
And this has been very stereotypical of RNG, that RNG have been the more aggressive team in the early game. Wei has been more proactive on the map, but this game it's going punch for punch. Jiejie is looking to answer in the mid lane. Cryin, though, has the phase rush, also has his ultimate. His flash, I'm sorry. He's very safe from these ganks.
Walks back, puts a ward down after the fact as well. Still doing a nice job trading here with Scout 2 in the mid lane, so no response for Jiejie from this early game. We're seeing RNG with a 1k gold lead, with Wei having 2 kills, which means the Bammy Cinder. So going for that chem tank build once again here on the Hecarim. That means jungle priority shifts gears a little bit as well.
Flandre doesn't have flash, is in a really bad spot.
Oh my god. Ming's roam sets up to kill Flandre. Xiaohu's damage is still huge. Tristana now on 2 kills. Xiaohu set up for success, and this turret is going to get shred pretty fast as well.
And let's remember, Ming 2018, 2019, Ming was absolutely smurfing on people. 2019, Ming and Chris, in my mind, were the best supports in the world. Sadly, Ming didn't get much of a chance to show that, but was a standout. Great to see him popping off once again. This is going to be a free Herald for the side of RNG, though. Jiejie and Scout are posturing. Flandre doesn't have TP, though.
Cryin without the ultimate in hand. The flash available if need be. Ragnarok there for Jiejie. The steal, will it come in? Emperor's Divide, but no. Secured by Wei. Scout now in a horrible position. He's knocked back into the wall. Can't shift out of there. Explosive Caster set it up, and RNG actually still okay until Wei drops down thanks to Ragnarok. Big shutdown going to Jiejie as the Herald was secured in the end by Xiaohu.
The shutdown is definitely a nice consolation prize, but RNG get Herald, they get a 1-for-1, and they're also winning in terms of golden XP because Gala has been left in the spot lane by himself, picking up minions, getting, should have an XP advantage, I'd assume, next wave, getting all these free plates. I guess to be fair though, Viper did already have an advantage from their winning bot lane matchup, so it's kind of more just evening it out in that dynamic.
But still, you're right. You know, an important note to take when you see Gala just hitting up the next wave. He's going to get a back off this as well. Xiaohu also picked up the Rift Herald, and I want to point out that he has a very early Gale Force at 10 minutes in the game. He'll pick up this wave, and now you have to be threatened if you're EDG that this Herald can just be placed top for an early first turret blood.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't expect it to go anywhere else. So, nice use by RNG. I don't even necessarily think it was like the plan to give it to Xiaohu, right? He was just the one who was able to pick it up. But I'm sure RNG would have used it top lane no matter what. It's going to be your first turret that's easily able to drop anyway. They have pressure. They've done it numerous times over and over again. Then I'm wondering, how does this Tristana transition onto the map? Because we did see with his Orianna, he did play that as a pure split pusher, so he might play Tristana the same way, or if he's going to look to just push and roam and look to siege down the mid lane with Victor.
Might be set up by Wei here in the meanwhile. This pressure is just coming off Tristana alone. Herald's still in hand. Xiaohu's just going to take first turret blood, and remember in the interview, Flandre is like, I think he has a while to go as a top laner. Apparently not when you play an AD carry up here. So first turret blood over to RNG. 3k gold lead at 11 minutes in the game. EDG in the meanwhile, their trade is going to be towards the bottom where they have a bit more pressure, where they have Azir in the lane. Lyric, Wei's coming up. Like, what do? Onslaught of Shadows, good night. Flandre dead again.
I wonder if... Oh, okay, they don't have the wave. If they do drop Herald here, they might be able to get an inhibitor turret.
True. The tempo to come through. Herald not going to be placed for now. There is a demolish on this Tristana as well. Xiaohu will push this pretty damn fast as he auto-clears the wave.
Hysterics, you also just answered my question of, I wonder if this will be like push move, siege Tristana, or split push. Now that we know he has demolish, I think he's probably going to continue to go for the side lane. Yeah. Now that he's gotten both turrets, though, it would be pretty crazy and pretty dangerous for him to push all the way up to inhibitor by himself. So maybe this is where you start running down mid, drop Herald mid, look to break open the map there, and then you have the whole top side of the map open to hover and shadow for your bottom lane.
Because what do you do if you're EDG here to stem the bleeding? Because things are running out of control where you now have a full item picked up by Xiaohu, who is on the left side of your screen. You can see almost 4,000 gold ahead of Flandre.
That's all of RNG's team lead. RNG is 4,000 gold ahead. It is all on Xiaohu.
Wei's got a small lead in the jungle, but you're right, that's about it. As two-man body slam explosive cast. Goodbye to Meiko. Xiaohu's come down to get another kill. Fate's call, but he's going to explode Lyric. It hurts Viper instead. Somehow that's how it works. And Meiko will get out, but so scathed with now the Herald placed down at the bottom lane.
I think he might have lost some health as well. His health does look a bit lower than when he got pulled in, but at the end of the day, whatever that interaction is, maybe you guys in chat know, let us know, but they're getting the spot lane turret. RNG are completely taking over this game, and when we highlighted, hey, you are Tristana, you're Victor, you're Xayah, you are scaling, you're happy, and the enemy team has an Olaf, it has a Kalista, and just overall, I feel like RNG's champions even outscale the scaling champions EDG has. That I don't know where EDG go from here. They do have 2 dragons. They can try to play for either Soul or Elder, where they can definitely take these fights, but I don't think RNG is going to give them that chance.
Because remember, if you take down the Tristana, you know, the fight can be quite neck and neck, right? With all the gold resources plummeted into Xiaohu. Gives EDG a chance, but those are the what-ifs right now because the lead has snowballed so out of control. The second turret going down meant that turret plating still existent. Went over to the bottom lane as again Xiaohu, oh my god, flashes for the auto, takes it down. A solo bolo kill under Scout.
He moves to top lane, and he's still looking for Scout's blood. And that also shows why he bought the Gale Force. Because let's remember, we don't really see Tristanas buy Gale Force anymore. It's mostly about Kraken Slayers, what we're seeing, but very low front line, and that's just not how Xiaohu plays the game. Xiaohu is looking to assassinate the backline threat from EDG, and Flandre...
It's just out of control. Xiaohu doesn't care that there's a Rell off the side, hits another turret, and let me just tell you one thing. This feels like an Invictus gaming game when the Shy was big. As teleport's coming in and Cryin might not care. Into the stun, Viper dodges away, but he's slowed down. And Cryin gets a solo kill. Xiaohu TP just to help him on.
Oh, that's not stopping Hysterics. Ming's going in.
Is this game over before we get to 15 minutes? A lot of our audience thinks so. Great explosive cast. The Magnet Storm used to try and get out, but there's no way, literally, for RNG's jungler.
You know, me, Munchables, and Dagda did the recent episode of The Last Hit, where we ranked where we thought the teams would be postseason. And all three of us surprisingly ranked that we thought RNG would be higher than EDG. And at least my reasoning was the fact that I do believe RNG are, I don't want to use the term faster, but more aggressive team. They do try to create opportunities. It feels like they are smarter about side lanes, and that drafting against them is so hard when they have this level of flexibility. And at least in this game one, I feel like all of those things are showing true.
It's exciting to watch that RNG playing with the tempo lead and really abusing it as well, right? You know, control of the better teams within the LPL.
No, you know the best part about this, right? Is that I guess we could get the replay first of Xiaohu go. Ooh, just nice rocket jump into Gale Force, very clean. And yeah, I guess we'll see the solo kill too. I don't know if I really count this as exactly solo kill because, like, well, the thing is it's a solo kill, right? But Viper can't run up. So Viper's only option is, okay, I have to go for this fight because if I run up, I'm dead. At least maybe I can hope to try to kill this Victor, right? He has two bad options and he picks the one that is slightly less bad.
True. I mean, you go from a solo bolo to a solo YOLO, I think, from Viper.
Exactly, yeah. So,
but you know, as we come in, Lyric, I wanted to bring up, you know, I said before, if this feels like an IG game of 2018. Remember when the Shy was playing a lot of AD carries in the top lane that we haven't seen in quite a while, taking over games and the rest of the map was doing well or doing okay in their counterparts? This does feel like an IG level of aggression game where so far Xiaohu has controlled the pace of the map, and because of it, RNG now taking things like Dragon, getting their vision line up as well, and pretty much controlling the whole of map.
RNG are very interesting because they actually usually don't keep the pace up from their early aggression. So they'll get off to a really good start, they'll punch first, and then in the mid game is usually when they calm down. They actually have one of the slower game times in the league for that reason, that they're like, okay, we have our advantage, we're a few thousand gold up, now we don't need to keep putting ourselves in very volatile positions. We can get the vision for the Drakes and just force these and wait this game out. So that could be what we see from RNG this game, but when you're 7k gold up, I don't necessarily feel like you need to do your due diligence. But I was gonna tell my anecdote again, but these teams just keep posturing back and forth, Hysterics.
They do. Vision lines being contested, and EDG lucky to get, you know, out past the river at this point in the game. Not sure if they're looking for Xiaohu or looking for another member, but the farming continues, the control continues. We had a bit of a highlight on our screen. Xiaohu is holding 4,500 gold over Flandre, a big amount of the lead that you see on your screen as well. But for EDG, just trying to move towards this bottom lane, keep Flandre safe. Try to get their second turret of the game while RNG have reset and they're pinging towards mid.
Yeah, I expect them to go for the Herald. We actually just saw Wei start it up. Cryin gonna put a bit of trade onto Jiejie, but RNG know that EDG have conceded the top side, so they should all be bot lane. So it's gonna be about doing the Herald and then transitioning into this mid lane play that we're seeing now.
I was gonna take this so damn quick. Look at the explosive charge. And turret's gone. Inner drops, and as Herald's being taken, that means topside jungle as well. I wonder what RNG will do from here.
That's a good question of how they'll use this Rift Herald, because you actually could even wait for the Baron to come up, drop Herald, turn to Baron. You have Xayah plus Tristana. That Baron cannot take long.
Oh yeah. Even Victor sustained damage, right, is gonna make it a bit of a brisk walk in the park. Xiaohu even backing around
now,
50 seconds before it's spawned.
Now, Hysterics, I feel like we have some time before some fights happen. It was very interesting last year, right, where we had a wave of community sentiment that, like, okay, maybe now RNG will do better because there's no more Uzi, so they're not chained to playing around bot. And then obviously they failed, so people meme that sentiment. And now that Xiaohu's top, it feels like what RNG used to do, just reverse. Everything goes to top lane, Xiaohu's the new Uzi. Just, yeah, it's very the shy vibes. I definitely agree.
If Xiaohu fails, explosive cast. Oh, it's flushed away from. Teleport coming in as well. Gravity field on top of Flandre, who's nowhere near the Mega Gnar bar. We have to watch Xiaohu, who's mid. Remember, this is all the damage, or at least the major portion of it, as RNG almost found a pick onto EDG.
I mean, he has a full item over his own AD carry.
Got an Infinity Edge and Flandre caught on out. Attract and Repel not going to do too much as Meiko goes in, but nothing can hit Xiaohu. He rocket jumps, feared in the back line coming through from Wei. Viper kiting himself back, and even a bit of a front line. Xiaohu just runs into the turret and dies. It's a trade-off killing Meiko, but a funny interaction nevertheless.
I mean, RNG just want to keep going forward. It's okay for EDG. They still get one kill. Not too bad of a trade. Gold is still 6K. It feels like we're waiting for neutral objectives, but to me, RNG are going to do one of two things where they're going to drop Herald and just try to guarantee the next dragon is actually theirs, or they could even give that Drake to EDG, be like, whatever, we don't care about third Drake, drop Herald and look to try to go for a game-ending push then and there. That one is obviously way riskier, but
I like that.
As we saw with this fight, RNG are kind of fine going for risky plays. We do see a nice catch onto Flandre right away. The Hecarim ult comes out. It's only able to fear Viper, but fearing Viper is enough. He is forced to get the hell out of there, does somehow survive, and then, Xiaohu walks forward and just gets absolutely... Oh, flashed, I'm sorry, and gets absolutely obliterated.
Okay.
More solo kills.
And hey, you mentioned a Baron play. How quickly is this going to go down, Lyric? Because Meiko's dead again for the 4th time this game. Baron might be theirs.
And the thing is, now you don't even have to make a risky play, right? You got the kill. You don't need to do any gambles that I just talked about. This is free. Resets are going to come back out. We're going to get on the map. They have Baron and they have the Rift Herald.
What more could you ask for? I mean, the Herald's going to... Does the Herald get Baroned up? I don't think we see this interaction too much.
I do not think so, Hysterics. That does not sound like
Because if your father's with you, you know, you feel empowered. So I feel like if you got the Baron buff, you're going to drop the Herald as well. Shelly becomes Shelina and just rushes it through mid. What are we looking at? We're looking at the teleport play that Xiaohu made onto Meiko.
I mean, there's nothing to say. He teleports in, has the home guard buff, you know, from being at base, jumps forward, does a few autos, and instantly Meiko is dead. This will be a free Drake for RNG. They're going to transition to the bottom lane after this because there is still an inner turret there, but Jiejie might be dead before anything happens.
We'll see. I think he's just okay to walk this one out. Ming joins in as well to do zone control while the dragon goes down. Baron here. Herald about to time out, so watch for way to place it down. EDG grouping up while Gala's actually not here. So it is a 5v4 if anything goes wrong, but the wave is quickly cleared out and still waiting for that Herald that's got about 10 seconds before it times out.
This goes back to that wave control we talked about with RNG.
Shelina.
They are trying to coordinate their waves crashing at the same time, so EDG is spread thin.
Oh, Jiejie knocked into the wall. Level differential here from Wei and the enemy jungler, but gets poked on out, runs away. Shelina gets the charge. And here into the inhibitor turret. This is coming up next with Ming and Gala off on the side, but Xiaohu's just poking down. Herald gets a charge, and for EDG just using Scout's wave clear to stay safe.
And this definitely should be their turret when the next wave comes in. It's actually about to come up. They're going to get it right now because this is what we were talking about with RNG, coordinating these waves crashing in. Maybe not this one, but the waves before. You are pulling EDG apart, you're spreading their forces thin, and you're taking advantage of more avenues to attack EDG's base.
And every time you try and defend one of these minion waves, Xiaohu walks up in one wave and then Gala moves to another, as you can see on the inhibitor. This range is being built up and EDG just have to accept this inhibitor is not theirs anymore. As it drops on down, RNG move to mid, and once again the push continues. And Wei into the back line, onto Jiejie immediately, but just disappears while they're onto, I think it's Cryin here who's been caught on out, but Flandre into the mini Gnar, gets bopped, destroyed, explosive cast. Xiaohu jumps on into the fight. EDG okay with the numbers, but remember Tristana exists. Reset City, rocket jump number 2 into Meiko. He'll die. It's another reset at the ready. A double kill goes over, and RNG are ready to end this one in 24 minutes.
And what a statement game coming out from RNG. fast play style enables Xiaohu in completely dominating this game.
This was all about Tristana top. Xiaohu jumps over for another session with the jungler, Jiejie at half, and you can just see that Xiaohu dominated the hell out of EDG.
And the draft flexibility, what can you do against this team? When they can play Tristana, they can play Orianna top, they can flex around all these roles. Gragas is a champion that you have to worry about. There's so many things RNG can do in draft that make it so hard to play the game. It's like when RNG is on blue side, they get the counter picks that red side has. It is absolutely crazy. And then to pair with the smart drafting, I definitely think they have the smartest and most intelligent creative map play in the LPL. It is so beautiful to watch.
How they drew EDG to sides, and you talked about at the start, how they can play these side lanes, and we go past Xiaohu dominating the laning phase, getting set up for success in a turret at like 10 minutes in the game and 2 items at the same time, but how he then translated that pressure to the bottom lane, opened up the map, and I think this was like the cleanest game, if not one of, that we've seen in the LPL so far. We've seen some dominating games, but this from RNG was abusing an advantage and just playing one of the fastest games I think we've also seen as well.
And it's one of the things RNG have done so well at is they're very good at punishing your weak side harder than you can punish theirs. Because we consistently see them do this where they're like, okay, we're going to leave Gala and Ming on an island. You guys have fun. We'll see you in team fights because you're both still insane on your own. And we are going to play around this top side. And they just always get so much out of it. And that's where I don't know if EDG can beat RNG. And that was why, again, at least the 3 of us that did the last hit, we're talking about like, hey, it just feels like stylistically RNG might be very good into what EDG does. EDG is slower, they're steadier. Maybe EDG might do better against global competition than RNG. I don't know, that's just a random prediction, but It feels like RNG might have EDG's number, but I'm not going to count EDG out. They are still first place, tied with RNG. Anything can happen in Game 2.
And Game 2 is all about that draft difference, draft change, right? Because I don't think this is necessarily a case of draft diff when 2 teams want to do very different things. RNG obviously executing it better, having a control mage in the mid as well that doesn't really need to interact also helped the cause. But I want to highlight that for RNG, playing to exactly how he stated to a key degree, didn't give EDG that time that they so want, where they can get into those brawls and they can not accelerate the game, excuse me.
Well, I mean, to be fair, this game it was about accelerating, right? This game you have the Kalista and the Olaf. But just to cut you off real quick and agree with you at the same time, I'm surprised Cryin did the most damage.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
actually.
I mean, right? Cryin was doing a whole lot in these team fights. He's Victor. He's just spamming E in lane, getting a lot of good trades. But just with how much Xiaohu was doing and how far ahead he got, because I even feel like there was a point in the game where he was an item and a half ahead of Cryin. That it's just pretty insane. But RNG as a team have a stable game plan. It comes together. And yeah, I have the same question as you. What do you do as EDG in drafting Game 2? Because what do you ban? And it doesn't matter what side you're on when RNG has these flex picks, right? Because you're not going to go into Game 2 and be like, I'm going to ban out Tristana. No, that's insane. That's a complete waste of a ban.
Is it more a case of setting up EDG Flandre for counterpick? Giving Flandre some agency within the lane, apart from something like the Gnar that they're trying to build a composition around.
The hard thing in that situation, Hysterics, right, is that, hey, let's say they do a similar draft, but EDG leaves top to pick 5. Well, they have Victor and Tristana. Who's going where, right? And then you got to think about champions that do well into both of these champions. And then you're like, you're going down a hole of, well, do I even play things that can do that? And it's going to be very tough. I do think, though, that, again, no matter what the drafts are, in terms of gameplay, EDG can definitely match. I just want to see how EDG problem solve the draft flexibility that RNG brings.
Because that was one hell of a game 1 to enter the series. And already the biggest question is on EDG, how the agency comes through in draft and what they can do to match RNG. Again, I think EDG is the one who has received more hype in this split, right? Like, RNG we've been hyping up all the same, but EDG we've been saying, like, people like Viper have had huge pop-offs. Scout's been playing one of his best splits as well. I think there's been a lot of times to talk up EDG, but RNG match into them game number 1, destroy them through the top lane, and in under 25 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a break to see if EDG can come back stronger and try and match them going towards game 2.